I would go out there and say that this is the toughest world's strongest man ever,
In
in
terms
my
of depth
opinion.
of talent, I 100% agree with you. Yeah. Hey guys, and welcome to Talking Strongman. As you can see, I have a very special guest with me today. It is none other than the space cowboy, Colin Bryce. Colin, what's your official title when it comes to World's Strongest Man these days?
Overlord.
Overlord, evil puppeteer.
Tyrannical evil puppeteer. Yes, and that's briber, cheater, anything you want to say.
Dodgy
Tournament
referee.
director. Tournament dodgy. Hey. I'm
God.
definitely not that anymore. I don't ref anymore.
No,
So
not since 2017.
no, I decided to step back away. Yeah. I realized I had too many roles then.
Yes. Well, we've got off to a great start already. Obviously, you've been on the channel quite a few times before, but we've never had a chance to talk on the channel, even though,
No.
of course, in real life at competitions, we do talk quite a bit, don't we?
We do a lot, yes. Yeah. In fact, I think there was a caption this one recently. Did you see that one on
I
Giants
don't.
Live?
Oh,
I
yeah, there was a
I was
picture of
standing with
us.
my new dumb second-hand camera, kind of asking you what do I do with this?
How do you use it? You were actually asking me. Oh, it's a shame that no one caught the fact that you stood up, not realizing that it was a chair that automatically folds. So when you went to sit back
Luckily,
down,
the photo wasn't 2 seconds later. Oh God, that was awful,
well,
awful.
the worst thing, Colin, was you tried to save yourself using me.
Well,
You really took me down with you.
what a shyster! I was trying to take you down as well.
I know.
What a no good.
Oh, if I'm going down, you're going down too.
Yeah, you're coming down too. No, to be fair, you reached out and kind of grabbed me and hoiked me up.
I caught you. Well, I've been training, Colin. So
You
I've
have,
trained for this
you're all
moment.
gunned up.
There we go. Anyway, we didn't get you on to talk about that. Of course, we want to talk about the world's strongest man because there's lots to talk about this year,
Mm,
lots to unpack. I think it's fair to say about 6 to 8 weeks ago, we weren't feeling all that excited about the world's strongest man, but since
mm,
all of these new announcements and information coming
mm,
through, it's really got us going, Colin. So I wanted to talk about some of that. And let's
mm,
start with some of the events because we've got a couple of new events this year, haven't we? So
mhm.
I wanted to ask about the inspiration behind them, I guess, starting with the Titans toss, because that's an interesting one, isn't it? And I know it sounds
Most
like
important was getting a great name. Once we had a great name, we then invented the actual event.
so
Uh,
tosser.
well, you actually had a bit of a sneak preview, didn't you? Because I came to Loz as one of my first port of calls, knowing that Loz had a stable of strong men, and could be discreet enough to keep it quiet while he did a little bit of testing. So yeah, Titans Toss is I'm a big fan of throwing events for explosive strength. Things like kettlebell toss and keg toss. So this time we're sack tossing,
Mhm.
but it's going to be starting at a set distance, still to be decided because there's been a lot of testing, but no one's actually tested it on da kit. So when we get the final bit of equipment, the final two sets of uprights, as it were, we'll have the guys throwing sacks from ever further distances, partially judged off what Loz and others did. But I think we'll zone in. I think people will be throwing a little bit further than we expected, from what I've
Okay.
heard. And we're going to do 10 sacks. So it's going to be like, most likely, my guesstimate would be, because things will change as we get when I get there, which I fly in 24 hours or something. But
Yeah.
we'll do probably two at basically 6 meters, and we'll
Mhm.
give them about a meter zone to actually. I've been painting today, by the way. It's not weird painted fingers. It looks really weird. No, diseased
Groovy.
hands. I've actually been painting my floor with resin, but anyway, yeah. So 6 you have a meter jump back zone in which to launch it, to loz it over, and then two of them, and then two. It might be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It might be a nice simple one. So
Okay.
it's 15-kilo sacks, launching them over a ever so roughly 13, just over 13-foot bar. Um, you It looks great when it's for height, and I just really fancied also getting that picture of distance.
The
It's just a little
distance.
bit extra skill, just an advancement really from where we
Yeah.
were. And I think it's going to work. Sack tossing is not as exciting as keg tossing, but we wanted to do a head-to-head throw, and they're the most they kind of are the safest. That's what it is, safest. But we'll still get this great shot of it, a bit like a field goal in
Yeah.
American football, watching it go over, and then the parabola or whatever it'll be coming on the way down. Oh, it gets over, and I envision moments where let's say you're racing, especially now that the heats have started, the finals have started early, as it were. You'll have
Mm.
moments where people will go, okay, I'm on to the ninth and 10th one, up at 10, 11 meters out, whatever it is. Do I calm down and try and throw it because your lactic acid is absolutely, frying your legs, or do I just go for it? So
Yeah.
it's a kind of you'll have interesting moments of trying to get a little bit of composure, I think, and then over it goes, and the crowd will go nuts.
Will there be like markings from the area that they have to throw from? So, like for
Yeah.
example, if they throw and miss, will they have to run and get it and
No,
then run back to the
no.
throw zone?
No,
No.
no, 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 no. Especially head to head. First time head to head. I think
Well,
that would
I was
definitely be a
thinking
bad
the bag's
idea.
still coming. Yeah.
No, 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 no. We don't. Yeah, we don't need that. So you have 10 shots. So if you get them all over, 10 out of 10, fastest time it'll be when the actual sack lands. As long as it's gone over, it will be timed. If it misses, you'll just go on to the next one. It'll just be a harder sack that you get over for your seventh, eighth,
Oh.
ninth, whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like I could, not me, someone could miss sack number 6, go on, do sack number 7, do all of the others, but they'll only get 9 out of 10 and a time for that.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely correct. So there's a wonderful uh, brain engagement here where you have to think, okay, I can't just rush this and be silly
Mm,
knowing I can just turn around and grab it. I'm going to have to take a moment of composure, especially at the real long ones.
yeah.
Um, which I
Well,
think's great.
I was talking to Shane Flowers the other day, who, when it's a standard, as you know, he's got the world record at Giants Live, hasn't he, for like a standard throw. I think that's with sacks, isn't it? And
Yes.
he was saying this is really, it's a very interesting twist on it because he can't go nearly as fast as he would like to. So
That was
it's
the
going to be
plan. So if,
interesting.
if that's true, then that pleases me, because now we'll
Mm,
have a moment. We will have moments where people will think, "God, I have to go for it," because
yeah.
especially now the stakes have doubled, and points equal prizes in the final. So it's a lot juicier. But we'll get onto that, right?
Yes, of course, of course. And like, I'm not going to ask you for any predictions overall for the competition, just because it's not really fair in your role. But who do you envision being good at this event in particular?
I'm not going to ask you for any predictions, but who are you going to predict,
But,
Colin?
but who are you going to predict to win this?
Okay,
I
so
was trying to be cheeky.
I've had Mr. Cordiaka tell me he's done this might scare everyone, an 18 kilo sack from 12 meters out over a 4.7 meters. So that sounds to me like
Wow.
about, I don't know, 14 and a half foot or something,
Mhm.
for the 18 kilos. So definitely these guys can do it. But
Yeah.
of course, who can do it on the ninth and 10th when your legs are jellied?
Yeah, of course. And it's, it's always different on competition day, isn't it? The elements are going to be outside in the sun. The weather's looking good.
Weather's looking really. Are you guys coming out?
Yeah, we are. We fly on
Where are you?
Tuesday. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful,
How
wonderful.
nice. You'll have
Would
the
you are
pleasure
you
of
going
our
to are you going to San Francisco or Sacramento?
We're flying into San Francisco and
Yeah,
yeah, getting a car from there.
hiring a
Yeah,
car up.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
going to
we're
be
not going to
awesome.
hire a car just because parking is so expensive at the hotel. There's no point. So we're just
Oh,
going to
really?
get a transfer car. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
I've got my tribe.
Of course. Yeah, we're not all Colin Bryce,
No,
are we?
I'm in the team bus with everyone else.
Oh, so
Let me pretend.
IMG didn't offer us a driver, but that's fine. Anyway, next event I wanted to talk about in the heats was the Stones of the World. Is it still called
Yep.
that? Stones of the World? Yeah. So this is going to be a rock press into a stone to shoulder, into a carry for what's the distance on the carry?
It's going to be TBD,
Okay.
to be
Okay.
determined. Somewhere between 10 and 20 meters up, and then 10, 20 meters back. So, but it could be 40
Oh, okay.
meters. It'll be
Okay, a
significant.
considerable distance then. And then into a tackless 200 kilo, or was it 180 stone load?
A tacky toweled.
Oh,
A
yeah, but
tacky
that's
towels.
tackless. I've felt those tacky towels. They're crap. Have you had any
Yeah.
experience with them? They're not
I
great.
mean, it's sort of back in the day. I never lifted with tacky. We used to use chalk. That's how bloody ancient I am. Yeah, we
Before
didn't.
tacky was invented.
Well, not exactly before pine resin was invented, but it just wasn't really necessarily the done thing, you know.
Yeah, of
I was
course.
much more comfortable just using bare forearms, but I just wasn't very good either.
And I can't imagine you were allowed to use tacky on the McGlashans anyway, were you?
Well, there was a bit of that with Dougie. Yeah, yeah, he was a
Yeah.
bit touchy about that. Bless him. Yeah. Anyway, so the stones of the world. Yeah, we start with a press,
Mhm.
which will be something along the lines of an Inza stone
Okay.
or
How wide is
thereabouts.
the stone out of interest?
Uh, I say Inza stone. It's going to be a bit more blocky shaped, I think, or
Okay.
rectangular shaped. But that kind of so you can get your hands under it, rather than a completely
Yeah.
round stone like we did at Europe's Strongest Man a few years ago. I learned my lesson there. Round stones
Who ended
don't.
up with it on their head?
I think a few people actually on their heads as it sort of slipped out their hands. Oh, that was a disaster.
Must have been cut
Uh,
from the TV edit.
Luke Richardson, I think, had a kind
I
of
think
great
Luke,
super slow motion where it kind of
yeah.
as it conked
Oh,
him.
his face sort of melting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then there's going to be a stone to shoulder. I imagine Kierovskovsky could be Big Maddie could be quite good at that one. That little
yeah.
section of it into the carry Husafelt style, hence the sort of stones of the world, and then the foundation stone at the end, which is just going to be a big ass lump, or the tombstone, as I kind of want to make it called. But anyway, I've lost the
Sure.
vote. It's a foundation stone, and it's going to be could be up over 200 kilos. It depends.
Okay.
It could be over 200 kilos, and it could be done without tacky or just tacky towels because it will be potentially. We'll have to see the final shape of it. Haven't seen it yet. Still cooking, but it could be. You know, when it's a bit squared off, it's all the easier to get your hands under it and lift it. So we'll see. We'll see.
Mhm. Interesting. So we've had a few different stone presses in pop up in competition recently, especially at like the
Mm.
Arnolds and stuff like that, and it always causes a little bit of controversy in terms of refereeing and what good looks like. Now, I know obviously you're a Scottish man, so you're all about the stone lifting and you understand the history there. Because I know in those more traditional lifts, a good lift is kind of just like that, isn't it? It's up. So, but
Well, I mean,
what sort of standard of the
I wouldn't say, you know, back in the day, you know, old Davy Webster, you know, he was a lot more generous, and it slowly got stricter and stricter. Listen, this will not be you know, a dumbbell at the Shaw Classic or the SMO. That's for sure. This will be a get it up, press it to a lock, and down pretty much straight away when you've got it locked.
yeah,
You can't be messing around with you know 100 nearly 130 kilos of boulder above your head,
no,
making them
stay.
kind of get into and also they've got a hell of a lot to do before the end of that event. So you know, the last thing we want is people actually pressing it up there and then dropping it and not being given.
Yeah.
That's not cool for me. It's got to be done quickly, safely, down pretty much straight away once they lock out. And Maggie Vare will be reffing. So Magnus is the former world record holder in stone press. Let's not forget.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, saying Kilishkovsky will be good at stone to shoulder. He won't be bad at overhead press for the stone
He's
either.
gonna be
Actually,
good at every element there. He
he's the
won.
record holder in that too now. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
God, what a men's lift that was
Yeah.
in
And
Iceland.
he won the Husafell Stone in in Iceland as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the
Yeah.
man. It was great to see him back.
Yeah,
The
it was good.
Terminator.
It's always
Yeah,
good.
that'll be a good. In fact, he's got good events in the heats.
The
Does
heats events are
Kilishkovsky?
amazing for him. Unfortunately, the finals events probably a bit less so, but I think he's got a very good chance of making it out of the groups.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, it's just that deadlift, isn't it? And that's the problem. I don't know where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah, the deadlift, he should have got 4 reps at Europe's. He
Yeah.
mistimed that last one. I think hopefully that's given him a little bit of confidence that he can push that bit harder. I know it's just a lack of confidence in his body because of everything that he's been through.
Did you see him at the Siberian Power Show?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I caught bits of it. I was alone with the kids, so I wasn't able to watch all of it. But yeah, it
The
looked
stone shoulder
quite
it
useful.
was great, wasn't it? That and it's
Yeah,
just I love it when they have a situation where the best goes last, and it's a bit like the caber toss.
yeah.
Fail, fail, fail. Can just about do it. Nearly Hapthor does it, but it's a ball ache. And then Maddie, but he was
I
like,
know.
wow,
Bit of
good
a
to see him
YOLO at
back.
the end. Yeah.
I'm back.
Other events I wanted to talk about then, we have the return of the 18-inch deadlift in
Mm.
the finals. So is this going to be the exact same setup? I guess not, because you have a new sponsor now, don't you? Because we had it in 2020, but now it's the BF Goodrich elevated max deadlift, is it?
I'm not sure it is actually. No, I think
Or
don't
is it the
hold me to
Connect?
that, but I'm not sure it is. If it is, there's no tires actually. It's
Maybe
going
it's
to be.
Connect then.
No, Kanak are sponsoring the first event, which is of the final, which is
Oh,
going to be
okay. A
spectacular.
medley.
But Kanak have got great engineers, and yeah, they've been working very hard towards making something. But yeah, no, I think that the old BF Goodrich. Oh, don't hold me to this, but I think that it's not tires anyway. If it is the BF
Okay.
Goodrich, it is exactly the same kit in the 18-inch deadlift as it was in 2020.
20. Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
was the
Yeah.
2020 finals.
So it's an absolute. I mean, identical. These are they're actually originally IFSA's axle
Oh,
wheels, which
okay.
kind of amuses me anyway. I've been around that long. Bought via Odd Haugen at an auction, I think, when they went bust.
Hmm. Interesting.
And Odd holds them in LA and kindly is lending them to us, and we'll be there. Big Odd.
Oh, awesome. How nice. Do you envision Alexi's, because there's World's Strongest Man have like the World's Strongest Man record, don't they? Which Alexi holds at, I want to say 547 and a half, something like
I
that.
thought he actually did a cool 550, didn't he? Was it 547.5?
Well, he did 550 recently at, I think it was like at an
Oh,
exhibition.
as in what is the world's record? I think it's five.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, 537.5 actually.
Yeah. I can't remember.
I wrote the rules up about 2 3 days ago.
Oh, don't
I
worry.
think it's 537.5 is in my head. I think
Okay. Do you see it being broken though, is the question. So don't panic about what the number is.
it's like 1,210 pounds or something. Yeah, it was 1,537.5. Do I see it being broken? Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah. Well, I say yeah. Depends on what the final bar we use, which is up in the air still. But what you want is pretty much an identical bar to that one.
Mm,
Which is one that gives a little flex, so you get that kind of sexy moment of it going
mm,
up,
yeah.
but you don't want it still on the floor with a shorter man with
When
long arms.
when someone's knocked out. Yeah.
Which I didn't see. And I'm not. Let me not cast anything on it. But I didn't see Alexi's new 550. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. Was it a
It's
bendy bar? Super bendy?
it was quite a long bar and it was quite bendy. So technically he was breaking Rauno's record,
Hmm.
but it was quite a different setup, to be honest. This is
Hmm.
the problem with these
It was 18
non-standardized.
inch though, right? It was
It
18
was
inch.
18 inches,
Hmm.
yeah, as was Rauno's, but it was a longer bar and it did look a little bit more
To be
flexible.
honest, right now we might be staring down the barrel of like a 33, 34 mil right old chunky super stiff bar, which obviously
Mm.
diminishes chances of records by some margin. But I think 2020 there was I think the boys are a little bit bigger and stronger than they were in 2020. So
I agree.
wouldn't
Yeah.
say yeah.
Yeah. 2020 was a weird year anyway, wasn't it? Not
It
that it
was just
was a great
yeah.
competition, but
But there
yeah.
was even like a short run in. We are going to do it quick, quick, quick. Everyone get a flight.
No.
It wasn't. There
Yeah.
wasn't huge amounts of preparation. It was.
No.
But it
And then there
was.
was
Yeah.
a hurricane and everything, wasn't there?
God, how can we forget? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was that. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Very odd,
crazy,
yeah.
crazy.
So another event that's making a comeback is the Flintstone lift, which was in the final in 2022. Again, it was Alexei Novikov that won that, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah. God,
Yeah.
Alexi can pull out big performances. It's a
Oh, he
shame he's not.
can. Yeah.
Shame he's not coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope he fixes his little health difficulties he's got at the moment. But uh, yeah. I mean, we got Mitch. I mean, when you got Mitch, you've got the tool that you can pull out and use on anything. Just about to get a world record. He's just
Either tool.
in supreme form, isn't he? But who else could pull a big 18-inch? I don't know. You got to think Trey Mitchell. He's monstrously strong at the moment.
Yeah, Matt
Um,
Rag.
Matt Rag. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's God, Matt Rag. Yeah, he's the original. He almost looks short with those big long arms, but he's about
I
six
know.
foot three when you stand next to him. I
Yeah,
mean, he could be fantastic at that. I don't actually know what isn't he good at. There's I'd be interested. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I think I could see 550. Going
yeah,
actually.
I agree.
Hmm.
Agree. So with the Flintstone lift, I can't remember what the world's strongest man record is there, but did you see Lucas Hatton's 270 in training?
Wow, that dude is just so he's built for it perfectly as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
is.
Where he jerked that over his head, it's someone who really trusts their ability to drop under it, and yeah, I can't wait to see him actually. He somehow ducked our OSG. He somehow ducked our late offer last year, but he seems like an absolute, you know, cracking bloke. And
Yeah.
I looking forward. I've met him once or twice now, and he's just strong as hell as well. He brings another dimension of, just this body shape and everything. I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on. Hopefully, he should get through to the final. I think. Let me
He's
not
got a
predict,
he's got a
but
hard group. He's got Mateusz Kieliszkowski, who I do see getting through out of that group with those events. He's got Reino now, who's such an unknown right now, but he's looking like he looks good, you
mm,
know? Shane
but
Powers has got some great events in the heats.
I mean, but Reino Nell is the sort. I imagine. I mean, I've not seen him compete up live, but Marcel suggested he was like a new Mitch, but I actually sort of imagine he's a bit more like a new Kieliszkowski somehow.
I agree with you. Yeah,
Mm,
I think in terms of like what we'd seen, I mean, what we'd seen from Reino and what we've saw from Mitch before his first words was completely different. We saw some ridiculously heavy things from Mitch. From Reino, we've seen some great performances, like some consistent performances in competition. So I agree with you. Maybe more of a Mateusz.
I
Mm.
enjoyed your interview.
He
He's been
seems really
pleasant.
nice.
He's
Yeah,
sort of sort of charming fella. Yeah, I look forward to meeting him properly.
you look forward to being charmed in person.
I look forward to absolutely. No, it's always nice. He sort of seems kind of rather gentlemanly and even a little bit shy, but he's
Yeah.
confident enough. That's for sure. He knows he's got skills. Um,
Absolutely. You have to
mm.
be, don't you? You know?
Well, I mean, if you just be a lamb to the slaughter. Otherwise, you got to have a bit of something about you, especially when there's only 25 guys. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the days of 30 guys and a couple of free passes to some maybe not so good guys.
Yeah.
It's a lineup of killers this year.
Yeah, there's no filler at all, is there?
Well,
No
I think
random
I will go out there and say that this is the toughest world's strongest man ever,
in
in
terms
my
of depth
opinion.
of talent, I
Mm.
100% agree with you. Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I
just because I do believe Mitch, if he can turn up in the form he has been showing,
mm,
he's obviously had his own personal problems. If he can turn up in the form he has been showing in the last year, he is. He does a lot of videos about who's the best ever. Actually, it's really Mitch. I think Mitch
he's
is
just
in terms maybe not like the goat, but
no.
as in the best strongman of all time. Who are you going to pull out? Give me Mitch Hooper, but if he's going to go into a contest of 100 events,
Yeah.
he can. I would have said Hapthor before and from 2019, but no, I would just give me Mitch or 2018 even. Yeah.
Yeah, 2018 when Thor, I mean, it was over the course of about 2 years, to be fair to Thor. He had a great run up until 2019 Worlds. Anyway, talking about history then, I want to talk a bit about the format changes that we've got this year, because this is a
Mm.
really exciting factor. Because when we first got the groups, I thought, no, like, did they not understand what we don't like about the stone off? It was the fact that only 2 guys got to do it. So even though they changed
Mm.
the event, I was like, no, it's still a stone off. So obviously that's now gone. Every single guy in the group gets to do the Stones of the World event, which we think is a great change because otherwise it was only 4 events, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the royal they've changed again. Who's they?
You know who we're talking about.
Me and Daz, and,
No, but I know
and a
it's
couple of
I
other producers.
wow. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, well, the royal they. But yeah, it just wasn't. To be honest, it was born out of a problem that actually we were trimming it down so tight. Suddenly, it's not like TV to help spur on a great idea. Something, always feels like they often drag things out and change things that hardcore fans would think were for the worse. But
Mm,
this very much came from the thought that actually, hang on, with all these events going in pairs to make it more exciting for the live, and it will be great action the live for fans who are turning up for the heats now,
mm,
because everything will go pretty rapid, you know.
yeah,
Um, but actually, the thought was we might not have enough action for the television. Suddenly you're cutting up an hour of TV. You know what it's like. No one edits more than you, Liz. You're editor of the year,
oh,
2023, 2024. You chop out.
shit.
So does Laws ever do any editing?
God, no. Loz can't edit an Instagram reel.
I imagine his big, hairy, chunky fingers just
Oh, he wouldn't know where to start, Colin. He doesn't
working,
try.
working at Adobe, whatever. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I think it will certainly make. Straight away, we had 5 more guys doing it. That was the initial thought. Right, if we just get all 5 to do it, but then it brings back the old horrible problem. Go look at 2013 and 2012 if you want to see what the problem looks like. And that is if you just do heats with all 5 guys doing all 5 events, then you've got a scenario where you have almost guaranteed 2 fellas off in the lead after 4 events, and
Yeah,
it's not worth a shit to them to even bother doing the Atlas Stones.
yeah.
And it's, welcome back to the final part of this great World's Strongest Man, heat number 2. And here we have 2 guys about to go who've already qualified for the final, and it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just shit. So that doesn't work as a. And then it dawned. Actually, Neil Green was the man. Let me big props to Greeny, because he's main producer and all, and he normally he would turn down something. Or I imagine they would turn down. I mean, I've come up with ideas like this in the past, and the producers go, "What? How are we going to make
Shut you
that work
down.
on television? How are we going to make that?" Yeah. But to be fair, and he said, "Yeah, I'll just make it work. I think this will be more exciting." And I was like, "Wow!" It was like a light bulb exploded in my head. I said, "Greeny, we have to do this. This is the
Yeah,
greatest change to World's Strongest Man ever, because now instead of 6 TV shows and you watch 1, 2, this is kind of looking the same, especially now we make the events the same. Excuse my
yeah,
painted fingers, but you get the idea.
yeah,
5 events. And if you watch a tournament, it goes quarterfinal, semi-final, getting more and more exciting, and ratings go ding, 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 ding. But actually, 5 are the same, and then in the grand final, it's like
yeah,
sugar. We don't get enough of the actual meat of the best guys competing. There should be a semi-final, and then it was like, wow, we suddenly, by doing this is the first event for everybody.
yeah.
This is bloody brilliant.
And it solves the
Everybody has to
problem that
go
they had.
absolutely hammer and tongs, and even if they are the 2 guys way out in the lead
Yeah,
of their heat, they still have to go big guns at the final event. Now, having said that, I was thinking today and chatting with, I think it was Scott Ryder I was chatting to, and you could have a scenario where, let's just for fun say Mitch was
mhm,
outrageously good in 4 events and won 4 across all 25 men.
mm.
Could he actually be in a situation where he could still cruise the stones? It's possible.
It
If
is
second place,
possible.
if second place was, such a
If
distance.
everyone else behind him was inconsistent, then it is
Everybody else, but I mean, oh
100%
yeah, like not just
possible.
his
Yeah,
heat, but
yeah,
everybody. I mean, it could be.
yeah,
It is conceivably possible, but highly
yeah.
unlikely. So I
Yeah,
think
and he would
we're
still want to make sure that he got 10 points going into the final. Do you know what I mean? You still want
mm.
that overall for the first event, don't
Well,
you?
so yeah. I mean, exactly how we're scoring it doesn't really matter actually, because all that matters is you're judging the performances one against the other,
Yeah.
and competitor A is the best across all 5. He will get, the big debate was today. What do we call it? Do we call it event 1 heats? No, because it's not an event 1. So then it was like, okay,
Yeah.
what about
He's
qualifying position points? And then
yeah,
that's okay. That kind of works. Then we kind of bantered it round. But yeah, basically it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, all the way down to 1, as if you'd done 1 event already in the heats.
Yeah.
Because
Do
let's
you
be honest, the only time we've ever done, we've done six every year except 2019.
what, 6 groups,
Shoot me down if I'm
6
wrong here.
events? Oh, 2019, yeah, that was less. Do you know what? It wasn't no, no,
That
I'm
was
thinking of the Arnold. It
Listus's
was
year.
5. Yeah,
That was
yeah,
Listus's year, and it's there's take nothing away. You win the Olympic weightlifting on two events.
yeah,
You can decide a strong man on two, but five, it just felt fractionally light. Though to be fair, that year Listus actually had a nice chunky lead after, as it were, after the
yeah.
five,
He did very well.
and he was on fire. But five is a weak number for the final. I
Agree.
mean, and every aspect of the change made sense, except for the poor old TV producer himself, who'll have a right bitch of a time having to try and explain it to the people at home. Right, so we're kind of looking forward to the heats ahead, but you're like,
Yeah,
oh God, where do you start? James Richardson is of course a magnificent wordsmith for the British audience.
yeah.
So yeah, so I'm sure they'll be able to script something up that
I'm sure
makes
it's
sense for
not
everyone.
that complicated, is it? There's
It's not that
world
complicated.
has been more complicated in the past. 2004, I still don't fully understand.
I emceed it, and I didn't even understand it when I was emceeing it. I had no idea what was going on. I was just handed next pair out. What is going on? I couldn't.
Oh.
If you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you what went on.
I know it was head to heads, obviously, which I just didn't fully understand the scoring. I just-
I think everybody took on everybody at something.
It's
Maybe.
something, and but you got awarded 1 point, or oh, I don't even know, Colin. I
Do
still
you know
don't.
what that was? Do you know what that's what happens when somebody from outside the sport comes in, who's
Uh,
a creative director. Hi,
mm,
I've had some big successes on Saturday night television. It's exactly what happened, and that
mm.
killed it off the BBC. Well done, mate. That was it. But anyway, we're on
Really?
Channel 5, great channel, and have been for a long time. So yeah,
Oh, how
it's Britain.
interesting. I didn't realize that was the nail in the coffin in terms of the BBC contract.
Well,
Wow.
if I were, let me again not cast whatever, but I don't think IFSA had already smelt that they were going to be signing everybody up and moving
Yeah.
off the following year with a lot of money. I don't think they wanted to stop it, and they let a new creative director come in and run riot, and
Um,
yeah, it bloody killed it. It was awful. That yeah. Anyway, that and other things, but there we go.
how interesting. But we've had some other obviously big significant format changes over the years. So I wanted to talk through some of them with you just to figure out like what did you like, what did you not like. So not a fan of
It's
2004.
it's my 30th year, Liz. So there we
It's your
go.
30th year. Oh, lovely. How
30th
nice.
world's strongest man here. I know I
Oh,
don't look
how
old enough to.
aging. So of course, the first really big change was 1994 when the groups were introduced. That was
Yep.
most significant change. Poor Gary Taylor,
Hmm.
he was the reigning champion. Didn't make it out of the group stages in the first year that they introduced groups. That was a
Yeah,
shame.
but I seem to remember. Was it a loading event, the final event he had to pull out on?
Oh, maybe I
And
can't
it was
remember.
awful, and it was too high. They built it like 6'2" or
Oh
6'4".
yes,
I remember just screaming at the telly, Gary, for God, stand on the sack and then load the other one and then take the sack round. But it was like playing a game of Tetris for him. It
yeah,
was so unfair. He just wasn't
yeah.
that tall, Gary.
No, we've seen it a few times. Poor Stumpy Rains had a bit of a mare a few times, didn't he?
Yeah. Poor old
Bless
Stumpy.
it.
Yeah.
Do you remember his little hoop on the
Uh,
like the shield carry?
God,
Oh,
imagine being 5'4" and 23 stone. I mean, it's
I
amazing.
can't.
So
No,
300 something pounds. It's crazy, yeah.
wild.
Uh,
But 1997 was a bit of a weird one because you had your 4 or 5 normal groups, but then there was a Team USA, wasn't there? That had like 8 athletes.
which year, sorry?
1997. Do
1997. I was there.
Yeah.
What did we do?
Do you remember they did an event where they were dangling over a swimming pool? So there was a Team USA
Oh,
that had
okay.
8 athletes. The
I
top
tested that
2,
event. I tested the event.
did you?
You know what? I tested the event and I thought, I was like, wow, this is so shit, because I was quite a slim youth still,
Yeah.
and I was good at pull-ups, and I hung onto that bar as any young man would for like, I think I took Gregor on actually and duffed him up. He was dangling off it as well. But in the test, I think I did about 2.5, even 3 minutes.
Oh
Because
no.
it's just not that big a deal, you know. Just
No.
hang it, and then I did a pull up and then dropped from up at this height. I remember it like it was yesterday because I bang the jolt in my hips from the high up because it was about I don't know. It looked like they were dropping into water, but it was about 3 foot of water. It was all it was.
Oh really?
Yeah, I do remember. Yes, but that was America's Strongest Man. That's
It
what it was.
was. Yeah.
So it was like
Yeah.
they basically filmed back to back. They filmed it'd be like us doing in Britain, Britain's Strongest Man, and then a day's rest, 2 days rest, and straight into World's Strongest Man at the same venue.
Which was insane because they had to do 12 events, like the two eventual guys who qualified out of that competition. They had to do 12 events in America's Strongest Man to get through to the
Was it
World's Strongest
12
Man
events we
final.
did?
They did 12 events, whereas everyone else in the other groups, the rest of the world, did 4 events. So that was pretty
I see, right, yeah, so they did 8 before. Yeah, yeah, or whatever, yeah.
yeah.
But they did, yeah, all that mad tire tossing and that kind of bollocks. It was, you know,
Yeah.
it was just really, really, that's throwing done badly at World's Strongest Man. Guys
Yeah.
trying to throw a tire, first of all, tires just doesn't look that heavy. And then it, you know,
Yeah.
funny enough, the discus thrower does well. You know, it's just like, yeah, it's too sport specific. That one for me, it was totally wank done in a car park. It was
Do you
poor.
remember in 2015 in Malaysia, they loaded tires and they must have, God knows how dense they were because they didn't look that big. They looked like the tire off of like, you know, a large SUV, but they were
Yes,
monstrously heavy and
I
it
do
just
remember.
looked so
Ah, yes,
fat.
they were absolutely
They
rammed with
weren't,
steel.
yes,
They turned up.
yeah,
They were like it was like Spinal Tap. You know, when they turn up with instead of the 14-foot high stage, it's the 14-inch stage
yeah.
that they have to play in front of.
It
It's
just
like
looked
who
so
ordered
bad
these
because,
tires? They were tiny, and I tried to pick one up. It was
yeah.
unbelievably heavy, 120
Yeah.
kilo tires. It's like
I know, I think they were heavier than that.
even
I'm
heavier than that,
sure
I
they were
think.
heavier than that. But they
Yeah.
just looked they were odd. Anyway, so 1998, there was a different format where they had 10
Do you want to know
groups.
the worst? You can't just say the worst case of that ever. And it's my whole chum Odd Haugen who got mentioned here earlier. When we did the Super Series, we used to be partners in business. Did Odd and I? We were Super Series, and I don't know where the hell he got them from, but he had I think it was 2 lead suitcases
Oh, no.
weighing about 200 kilos each. The first
Oh
guy
my
walked out there to pick up these little diddy suitcases and he couldn't get them off the floor. It was a
oh
400,
god.
880 pounds worth. Anyway, that was you want to make strongman look great. You know,
Yeah,
things need to be bigger and greater,
yeah.
never smaller.
Not
That was
smaller, never smaller. No, no, no,
no.
no. But yes, 1998, big year. 10 groups that year. Just the winner of each group qualifying through to a 10-man final. So that's actually the most men we've ever had at Worlds because there was 40 invited altogether. That was the year in Morocco everyone got sick.
Yes, Morocco. Right.
Food
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
poisoning.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Boy, oh boy, now it comes back like a train. I tell you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like a bad visit to the toilet.
God, did we do 10 groups? That's mad. Yes, we did,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Mm.
Was it 10 groups of? Was it 10 groups of 3 or 10 groups
10
of
groups
4?
of 4. It was 10 groups of 4 doing 4 events, and the winner got through from each group. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, 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 yeah. I
It
can't.
was, it was very much survival of the fittest, though. It was the year Magnus Samuelsson won, but so many people dropped out of the final in the end. Was it Mark Philippi got crushed by the car on the car flip? It was a bit of a disaster. One of my favorite years, actually, to watch.
You brought up a funny moment. You know who was spotting him?
Who was it? Was it you? Oh, Colin. I have to go back and rewatch the footage. So did you fail with
I
your
wish
friend?
I wish they would have shown all the footage because
What
it's
happened?
still today. It's probably my biggest deadlift actually because
Oh, is
I pulled the
you
car off him.
flipped the car off him.
Um, yeah, the old granny can get a jolt of adrenaline and can do anything is very true because
Oh.
I he couldn't quite flip it and actually what happened was this is another this is where television went wrong. And I think enough times passed that this guy won't get sued for it. He should be sued for it. Actually, he
Oh,
bloody
dear.
should be. He hid 8x4s under soft sand. 8x4s, about 3 or 4 in a row. Don't ever do this. This is just beyond stupid. If you're going to
So it
do
was
a
just
calf flip,
very slippy.
first of all, don't do it on the beach. Second of all, don't do it on the beach and hide the actual hard platform under the soft sand. So
Oh,
Philippi flips the car first time, no problem. He gets it over. He's kind of short, Mark, compared to the others, but that's the way it
mhm.
is. He's maybe 5'10". Second, but it sort of spun on its cars on its roof the first
Ah,
flip and then flipped off the 8x4. His second one, he's now in soft sand, and he's not very tall
oh,
compared to the others. Pulls it, feet go sinking into the sand. What is the one safety catcher technique was me jamming a keg under the tire.
yeah.
Couldn't get it under. He was now 6 inches into the sand as he tried to pull and thrash at it.
So it
But
just
he
wasn't
had
enough.
long armed. He was a great deadlifter, Mark. But I
Yeah.
couldn't. It was the height was like
Yeah.
I can't get this keg under here. Can't get this keg under here. Shit! What do I do? I actually try and hit the car and put him off or not? Oh no! Don't do that, Colin. That's a dumb idea. Just
Yeah.
wait. He's going to get it up a bit more. Boom! Snap! And
Oh.
his legs just went folded forward and under it, and the car came. And yeah. Anyway.
Oh,
That,
well, I didn't mean to bring back such horrible memories for you
Thanks,
guys.
thanks for bringing back my PTSD.
If you see Colin rocking in a corner at Welch, you'll know why. Let's move on quickly. So the last really significant change, well, there's been a few, but it's all been to do with the last event in the heats, hasn't it, in the Atlas Stone. So they tried out double points in 2015 and 16 on the Atlas Stones. Uh, that just puts way too much emphasis on one event, I feel. Then we went for last man standing, which was a bit, it was very fatiguing. Then we had just second and third place doing a standard stone run. I think we had that in 2018 and 2020. 2019, there was the controversy with Alexei not getting out of the heats, even though he was 7 points ahead of Trey, because Trey lifted a stone one more time than him. And then we had the stone off. So I think this is a really, really positive change compared to all of those tests that we've had over the last 10 years.
Now, hang on, Alexei and Trey. He didn't lift one more stone than him.
Well, he did. So it was just a back and forth, wasn't it? It was
It was about, but it's hot potato. They both lifted an incredible amount of stones,
they
but
did.
it started on Trey's side. He was
And
the he
Alexei
was,
couldn't return it.
but Alexei went through, did he not?
No, Alexei didn't. Not in
Oh, he didn't go through.
2019.
That's
No.
right. Yes,
Trey
yes.
went
Well,
through.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Sorry, I beg your
yeah.
pudding. You're right, and Alexei didn't deserve to go through because
Oh,
because Trey had lifted at one more than him. That was the game. That's the game. That's the
I
game.
know, but there was just so little advantage to Alexei, considering he was 7 points ahead of Trey going into that stone event.
And we learned, and we made the stones
We
heavier and
did.
heavier, so it was over quicker in a heavier feat of strength. Yeah, but you die. It's over.
So
He
that's
was
still
still the
Mark
master of his
Philippi.
own destiny, and he lost. Come on, let's not have any bleeding heart stuff here. Yeah.
But I do think, all jokes aside, I just like going through the history with you because you always come out with a good story. I do think this is one of the most significant changes we've seen at World's Strongest Man, certainly one of the most positive. And it kind of does everything that they want, doesn't it? It forces people to keep trying. It
Yeah.
makes it exciting. I think the comparison afterwards is going to be really exciting as well. And to see, you know, so I'm guessing when they do the first event, the order will be based off of their standing in event one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. So not
Which
only
might
will you have a bonus of 10 points to start the final,
get to go
you'll
last.
also get to go last in the honor system.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very significant. You're not people are not going to be FUing around. You know what I mean? That they are going to be absolutely going for it. I
Yeah.
mean, there are still. Listen, I don't get the ticket money. I'm not trying to hawk tickets for myself. There are tickets, and quite a few of them still free for World's Strongest Man. People should go and get tickets because they're actually significantly less in cost than the final 2 days, and there's more of them left, and it's going to be just as good because you're going to see all 25 guys going hammer and tongs at some cool events. People should definitely, if you're in, anywhere near Sacramento, you'd be mad to miss out. It's going to be a brilliant day. Oh,
Yeah.
Quinn on the microphone. You're going to be there, Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If that's something that people want to see. hiding somewhere. Ooh.
Oh, the American crowds are always terrific. So I
They
hope,
are.
I
They're
hope, I
great.
hope they come. I hope
Yeah.
they come.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So, one last question I want to finish with them, just because we get asked it all the time. Why don't they just do away with heats, etc., etc.? Have all the guys do all of the events up against each other. Now, we know that, the way the contract is, you have to be able to sell X amount of shows, and well, you have to be able to create X amount of shows out of it. And it's probably
Hmm.
not going to be very appealing to have a show that is 25 guys doing a deadlift. So, do
So
you
you've answered it. You've answered it.
I have answered it, but I want to hear it from you, Colin, because people might listen more.
You,
Well,
you-
probably
you've
not.
an- you've you've answered it. You've answered it. I mean,
Yeah,
well, you know, I love powerlifting, but powerlifting,
it's boring.
unless it's something like the Sheffield, where
Yeah,
it's sexed up
yeah,
massively, and you get what you want, which is just the greatest lifts by the greatest people, and not too many of them. Boom, boom,
yeah,
boom, and actually, a powerlifting meet is I think I'd rather have my dodgy veneers redone and 4 hours in the dentist chair again. That it is it's painful watching deadlift after deadlift after deadlift, up and down, up and down. Oh God, just
yeah,
get on with the next thing. Someone give me a record, for God's sake, and give me something to be happy about. You
yeah.
want action. You want the best. A final should have the best 10. You not the best 25. It's I don't know. That for me. I've been really. This is as I spend my days like this, thinking about the world's strongest man. It really is, and I've been wanting to do a semi-final, a quarter-final. I just know that would have really be magnificent. But this is the I think is actually the near perfect
Format.
balance, because you just can't have the guys being flogged through a heat, quarterfinals, semis, finals. World's strongest man, I hope, is an ever improving, I hope, record of looking after the athletes, as well as being just about the safest in many ways. And I'm not saying other contests aren't safe. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is safety in terms of variety of events, enough time to rest,
Mm,
guys are looked after medically, they get through it hopefully with the least chance of injury. Injuries will always happen. This is inherently a dangerous sport, and the guys absolutely understand that. But if you flog them with too much, max this, max that, max this, crush them to death in that, and that's just day one. On with the next one. So we realize there's a finite amount we can ask people to do, and I think this is the perfect balance. Do you not? You're excited. I'll be
I
dead honest. I wasn't. My 30th year, I just wasn't that excited either. But after this idea just went ding, and there was a lot of people, first reaction everyone kind of had was, "Is it too late to bring this in?" No,
yeah.
bollocks. It's such a good idea. It has to be done. To get very British, bollocks. we
Bollocks.
got to do. We got to do it. So yeah, we all shouted
No.
bollocks, and then we went for it. And I imagine that was we thought that would be the big criticism. Actually, how can you do this to people
Oh,
that
okay.
close? Because so many people really thought they weren't going to have to do the last event because they're that good. I thought that might be a bit of a criticism for some of the bigger names. How dare you make us do the stones of the world kind of thing.
You bastard.
I was planning on cruising through that. Yeah, but that's why probably there are quite a few
Why
seats
we have to do it.
left free in the heats, because people know it can be a bit cruise control. Not anymore.
No.
Now it's jeopardy from the off.
I'm actually looking forward to the heats more than I am the final. I think it's going to be
Yeah, me too, in a way.
really
I
interesting.
can't
Yeah.
believe we've sexed the heats up in this much by just
So
one
much.
tiny rule change. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Go on, Greenie. Get in there, Greenie.
What
Greenie
other
needs us.
untapped potential is there at World's Strongest Man? Oh, I know. We could bring back what we did in 2014 and have the two highest placing guys that didn't qualify into the final. I know you don't want a 25-man final, but 12 is a nice.
No, no. What is it with you and more numbers? You just
I,
keep
I just
shoehorning
want
them
more,
in.
Colin. I want more
Uh,
strongman.
hey, I don't disagree, and in a way, honestly, we did muse this over, but right now we can't do it because actually this rule doesn't change anyone's contract. You know, not that. people are going to go and go, no, it's not my contract. We can't do it this way because you're including me in the final. You know
You're
what I mean?
making me do the
I'm
event.
11th. You're making me compete in the final. Oh God, how awful! No,
Yeah.
it's not likely to happen. But anyway, yeah, everything's set for 10. So we're just carrying on with 10. But I think actually, let's just take it a stage further. If you had 12, you could almost do maybe 4 events, then 3, and have almost a hint of the semi-final final by
Mm,
shedding those
in
2, or
half.
maybe even 4, with
Mhm.
3 events
Yeah.
to go, and then you could have yet more action. Yeah, yeah, and give 2 more guys a second chance, a second life, as it were, to carry on. Anyway, but yeah, I'm all for it, and I think pretty sure everybody else is actually, but just not this year.
Yeah, it makes sense if it would have to be in the contract. We can't be. I've seen the World's Strongest Man contracts; they're long.
They're long. I believe Mitch is the only man who's ever read
Yeah,
it. Cover to cover, no doubt. I mean,
I didn't read it, but I've seen it.
I stuck mine in Chat GPT and asked for highlights. It was no,
Yeah, please give
no.
me the too long didn't read version of this.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Ah,
yeah, yeah. But I think
anyway,
everything else is okay. Mean, is there any other gripes out there? You guys have got your fingers on the
on the
pulse.
pulse. No, I don't. Well, obviously the lack of live stream. Obviously, that's always the biggest complaint. Do you
Yeah.
like? We're hearing
Listen,
murmuring.
you guys, it's one of your biggest weeks of the year. We bought our live stream, you two be redundant. Like, you
No,
guys
because
crush it then.
then we'd have a watch party instead of a wait party. A watch party would be much
Ah,
better.
oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
So
yeah, that's
it
true.
would
Oh,
still it would
is it true? Is it true? Someone told me you've had, because I've never watched it. I can't. I'm there. Is it true you've had 30,000 live?
I don't know if we've had as many as that. I remember the first year that we did it, the first year that we went live during Worlds, like waiting for results. At one point, Loz sort of pointed to the corner of the screen where the number is, and in that moment, when I looked, there were about 18,000 on. And honestly,
I'd heard
Colin,
30. I'd heard
there
30.
may have been at some points. I black it out because I nearly blacked out in that moment when I saw that number. I thought I was gonna faint. I go very white. I was just absolute because I was still quite new to
You're
being on the
quite new
channel
to
with
them.
Lars,
Yeah,
and I nearly died, Colin. So I try not to
yeah,
think about the numbers because
yeah.
I know, like, I've stood in the arenas where we have the competitions, and I know what 8,000 people looks like. So to imagine many, many more than
18,000.
that, yeah, it's too much for my gentle heart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I hate
yeah.
it.
But
Yeah,
now,
I
now,
hate
now you're not. I was going to say old pro. Now
it.
you're a
I am an
seasoned pro. You know.
You're very kind. Yeah. You get used to it, don't you? Cameras being shoved in your face, microphones,
I
questions.
guess. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I guess so. I
yeah,
guess so.
yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Colin. I'm sure you're very busy in the days leading up to your travel, but we're very excited to be out there with you. It's going to be
Not really.
fun.
I'm painting my floor.
Oh, that's true, actually.
To
Your
be
poor
fair,
wife's
but
probably packed everything for you, hasn't she?
yeah, go.
Difficult. Oh no, I've lost him.
Buddy, where are you?
What have you pressed? Well, he's back.
Sorry,
There we
my
go.
wife actually called at that very
So,
moment.
oh no, he's gone again. That's fine. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. You can't watch World's Strongest Man because there's still no live stream, but please do still tune
Like
in.
mad now. Somebody's obviously
Yes,
my son and daughter are beating each other up or something. So
that's fine. Let's cut.
see you in stack.
Thank you
Bye.
for joining us, Colin. Take care, everyone. Thanks. Bye bye.